30 seconds. Clapperboard, B729/423, take 1.
Hopkins as the Victorian physician Frederick Treves introducing the Elephant Man to his astonished medical colleagues. We had our first look at the film a fortnight ago, and today we talked to the star, John Hurt. As you'll recall, he plays John Merrick, the Elephant Man of the title, the horribly disfigured victim of a rare disease, exhibited as a freak and finally installed by the compassionate Treves in a private room at the London hospital. The picture was directed by David Lynch, who only has one previous feature to his name, and championed by a man better known for his comedies, Mel Brooks. John Hurt was just back from a US tour to publicise it when we met. John, did you know anything about John Merrick when you were offered the part?
Not when I first came in contact with the writers and David Lynch and Mel Brooks. No, I didn't.
Had you heard of him?
No, I hadn't heard of him, but I think I'd vaguely seen some photographs of him. In the back of my memory, when I saw the big photographs they had there, it rang a bell of some sort, but I had no solid acquaintance with him.
What was your very first reaction?
Well, when I was first approached, you mean?
Mm.
Well, the atmosphere in that room was so terrific. I mean, it was a feeling that they were genuinely going to try to make something really good. And Mel Brooks, though everybody knows him as for what he is on screen and so on, and for his bombastic personality, you might say, does have several other sides to his nature, and he was so persuasive and energetic and enthusiastic that I'd already accepted the job before I finished the interview.
So you never at any stage had any doubts about the way it might be handled, because the area of potential bad taste is colossal, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, there was not a doubt. There was not a single doubt of that. I mean, no worry about that at all.
One of the subtle things about the film is that we're introduced to the character of Merrick very gradually and very slowly, so that by the time we see him face to face, as it were, we're moved but not entirely shocked. Now, the producers have decided that we can't show you in the full makeup in this program because they don't want any scenes seen out of context, and I think they're right. But their approach means that you start the film wearing a canvas mask over your head with just one eye hole. That must have been very uncomfortable, nasty sensation.
Not as nasty as actually wearing the makeup, but it was, I mean, it was a very uncomfortable film to make for me, extremely uncomfortable. But I mean, not that I'm complaining. I mean, it wasn't as bad as the Last World War or anything like that, you know. But,
how long did the makeup take?
the makeup itself, the full makeup, 7 hours.
So what time did you turn up at the studio in the morning?
Well, I'd get up at 4 o'clock, get to the studios 5 o'clock. We'd finish the makeup at noon, then we'd shoot straight through with a running buffet for the crew, that was, till 10:30 at night. And then it'd take about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get it off.
So you must have been absolutely exhausted every day.
Well, it was every other day. It would be impossible to do it every day. I mean, we'd rehearse on the days in between.
Can you describe for us the look that you adopted for the film and how it was built up, the makeup?
Well, yes, vaguely. I mean, it's a terrible deformity, really. It's both bone and tissue deformity. It's a disease with a very long name. I can't remember it.
I think it might be called neurofibromatosis.
That rings a bell, definitely, yes. I never got that under my belt. But it's a terrific growth of bone, so that the forehead is way in front of what it should be, and so is the back of the head, and then there are also growth of tissue as well on the face. His mouth is twisted, and his nose is almost shapeless. And, I mean, he had the disease extremely badly. I mean, it was probably as badly as you could possibly have it. It's still quite prevalent. There are several cases of it.
Have you come across...
Not many as bad as that. Yes, I came across two in America, actually, at the premiere in America.
What was their reaction to having seen Merrick in the film?
Well, luckily, they found the film, they were, you know, thoroughly pleased with the film.
Now, although he spends his early years in a freak show being used and abused, you give him a fairly educated middle-class accent. Was that based on research you'd done?
No, I don't know where that came from. I wish you hadn't asked me that question. There are so many enigmas about him. I mean, nobody knows what his background was. But it just seemed to me instinctively that there seemed something about him that was middle class. It was no, that I confess was not an intellectual approach. It was an instinctive approach to.
He also suffered from chronic bronchitis, which must have made him doubly difficult to play.
Well,
the
yes,
breathing is very tortured.
He had his spine was shaped like a corkscrew. Literally, it was like that. And so, I mean, the fact that he was alive at all was really something extraordinary.
I read somewhere that Anthony Hopkins had to play some scenes without you because the makeup process was so long. Is that right?
Well, it is. We did have. I mean, we did have difficulties with the makeup. We started off with the makeup that we hoped would be correct, and in fact, we discovered that it wasn't going to work. And luckily, Chris Tucker, probably rated to be the best makeup creator in the Western world, at any rate, took it on and created the makeup in a matter of 6 weeks, which you would normally take about 6 months to do. He was working about 20 hours a day, literally. I mean, I was up and down from his studio to the other studios, and I don't know how he did it. I mean, he was white.
Treves, the surgeon who befriends and helps Merrick and gets him a room in the London hospital, asked himself at one stage, am I a good man or a bad man? Because he's plucked Merrick out of a freak show, a circus freak show, but made him, in a sense, a high society freak, because society used to flock to him and boast about having seen it.
That Merrick was in a better situation, because Merrick did, for all of his deformity, definitely did have a vanity. And
how do you know that?
well, it's written into the story. I mean, I act from the script. That's my business. If I was to start going into all the research, then I'd never get round to giving a performance of any sort. You know, it's just the same as doing Crime and Punishment. When I was doing that, I didn't reread Crime and Punishment. I had to rely on what Jack Pullman had made into.
But Raskolnikov was not a real figure, whereas Merrick is. So you must have.
It doesn't make any difference to me. It's still an imaginative recreation, whatever it is. I mean, it can drama, whatever it may be, whether it be taken from reality or whether it be invented, still is based in the imagination. I mean, you can't tell what anybody, whatever research you do, how anybody actually feels.
Sure, but you must sometimes wonder, I guess, don't you?
Well, that's what the imagination's for.
Of late, John, you've played a lot of people who are well outside the, quotes, ordinary, people who are eccentric, people who are deeply troubled, people who have problems of one sort or another, or deformed. Do you ever get the feeling you'd like to play a reasonably straightforward vicar or a deck chair attendant?
What makes them ordinary? It depends what they do. I'm sure there's some very peculiar deck chair attendants. But, I mean, if they're strange, then God knows what's John Gielgud's life. I mean, having played Lear and Othello and Hamlet. I mean, they're not exactly dead straight, are they?
They're not indeed. John, thank you very much.
Thank you.